I'm Andria. Thanks for joining me. I want to take you back to the very beginning of your day today. Back when you said farewell to your dreams and you started to regain consciousness, those first few hazy minutes when your entire day was full of possibility, those are actually the most powerful minutes that your brain will peak performance all day long. When you move from a delta sleep state, where your brain waves move low and slow, into that hazy first few minutes, your brain actually jumps into a theta state with very high and low amplitudes. And Jim Kwik is a memory expert, and he says that you can also achieve this brain power theta state while you daydream. So, daydreams are better than night dreams because they're more useful. So what is a daydream? Well, a daydream is a mind-based thought experience. So if you have a mind-based thought experience from your own personal history, it's called a memory. But if you have a mind-based thought experience that's not rooted in your own personal history, it's a dream. So dreams that you have while you slumber are night dreams, and dreams that you have while you're conscious are daydreams. So daydreams are better than night dreams, mostly because you can remember them more frequently than you can night dreams. But just because you don't remember a dream doesn't mean you're not having it, because everyone dreams. Sleep scientists have studied thousands of patients. They've hooked them up to see EEG machines, and they've monitored their REM sleeping patterns, and they've discovered that there are certain repeated patterns that they've identified as having a dream. And each of their patients has a dream. But even if you don't remember the dream, you're still having it, right? But why don't we remember the dreams? Well, there's several factors that go into the reason why we do or do not recall our dreams, including our gender. Like, did you know that girls are more likely to remember their dreams than a guy? Also, our age. As we age, we are less likely to recall a dream than when we were younger. Other things include anxiety levels, whether or not we're on medication, if we have underlying health conditions, and even if we've had a head injury. Now, as a side note, I know you might think that having a head injury would mean that you're less likely to dream, but it's quite the opposite. People who've had a head injury have much more vivid dreams than the rest of us. So, if everyone can dream, but not everyone can remember our nighttime dreams, are nighttime dreams even really useful? Well, a daydream is far more useful because you are awake and you can remember all of the great things that you've experienced. So coming up with new and creative ideas or interesting ways to solve problems. And it's in this state that we can recall them and use that imaginative information. Now, I know I keep hinting to the utility of a daydream, but let me break it down for you even further. Your brain spends most of its life in a relaxed state. So if you are not sleeping or specifically focused on a task at hand, your brain is just kind of idling in this relaxed state, which is very close to a theta state, which is that high brain power daydreaming state. So think of it this way. You've got all this time in your relaxing state. You might as well use your daydreams for good. Have you ever driven back and forth to the same place over and over? So much so that sometimes when you arrive, you're not really sure the details of how you got there? Well, it sounds kind of dangerous, but it's actually not very scary. This is called your working memory, where your muscle memory of your brain kind of takes over and gets you through the monotony of your day so that you can focus on more imaginative scenarios, because that actually grows your memory. But don't worry, if you had some sort of trigger, like a car were to pull in front of you, your brain would kick you back into reality really fast. So, another reason why daydreams are better than night dreams is because you can actually put your dreams to work for you. Think about this. Have you ever just been so bundled up in your reality that you can't get through some of your common problems, but you find that when you relax, you can think about the problem in new ways? This daydreaming is very useful to people. It's a way for you to explore creative ideas and also to make plans for things that you have no actual experience. So let's do this. Imagine that you wake up one day in a room with 4 walls and no windows and no doors. What do? Well, the chances are really high that you've never actually experienced this in your life. But I bet most of you right now are thinking of some ways that you might escape. So let's think. Is there a ceiling? Is the floor solid? Or is it maybe made of dirt that you might tunnel your way out? Is this entire contraption floating in the water that you might just swim away? Could you climb over the walls? Are they 2 feet high? Are they made of paper or glass or maybe a thin wood? See, it doesn't really matter. So you can get some of these ideas from things that you've experienced in your life, or maybe things that you've read, or a TV program that you've seen. But the entire experience in and of itself, this imagination exercise, is daydreaming. So daydreaming is very useful, and people can use it almost like a functional dress rehearsal. There's this very famous woman named Esther Hicks, and she talks about this concept of segment intending. It's where you take a very long process and you break it down into very small pieces or segments. And she tells you at this point for you to daydream or visualize how you'd like those certain small segments to go. This will help you prepare, kind of anticipate what might happen. And then when these scenarios come across, it will trigger you and you will know appropriately how you'd like to act. This is very, very useful. In fact, I'm sure a lot of students preparing for this presentation imagine how they'd like it to go before they ever record it. So this visualization of your daydreams is so useful that if you go to the Olympic channel online and you can research how Olympians actually train using visualization. Now scientists came along and they outfitted a helmet with a bunch of electrodes called an EEG machine. Now they put it on the heads of these athletes, non-water sport athletes, and they'd let them relax into the helmet so that they kind of didn't realize it was there any longer. Then they had them run their event, say for instance the 100-meter dash, with this helmet on, and they would map out the synapses as they fired, and then they would have them go back another day, put the helmet on, get them into a very relaxed state, and then they would say, Athlete A, I want you to run the entire event, but just in your mind. I want you to see your feet at the starting line. I want you to feel the earth crunching beneath your feet. I want you to feel the sunshine on your shoulders. I want you to feel what it's like to tense your muscles as you round the corners. And then imagine yourself winning. Imagine the exhilaration that you felt from competing and winning your sport. When the experiment was over, they looked at the two synapse maps and compared them and found that they were the same. The brain didn't know the difference between a person physically running the event versus thinking about running the event. This is so wildly popular that rich and famous people use this daydream visualization as a prep tool for their success. Let's see. Andrew Carnegie, the steel mogul. Oprah Winfrey, you know her, the talk show hostess. There's a golf champion, Jack Nicklaus, and that guy who split atoms, Albert Einstein. Yes, each of these wildly, profoundly successful people has used visualization daydreaming as a way to develop or to come up with new and unique ways to approach problems. They develop this entire idea before ever committing to action using daydreaming. So if these wildly successful people use daydream and it's backed in science, I'm very comfortable saying that daydreaming is far better than night dreaming. And if you spaced out during this presentation, it's okay, because the daydream probably did you some good. So thanks again for joining me. I'm Andria. Have a great day.